Coming up in this video, what are spirit guides? Mediumship training. We're going to give you 4 tips on what spirit guides are.
If you are new, consider subscribing and click that bell. You will be good to go. I'm Heather.
And I'm David.
From ZenRoseGarden.
Yes. Helping people create
badass lives.
Because that's just what we do.
All right.
As you guys come on, let us know that you're here. Let us know where you're from.
A quick story about us.
When we started our own journey, we noticed a huge gap in what was being taught by a lot of cookie cutter gurus.
Not that there's anything wrong with cookies, but
we like cookies.
Some people taught all the cool, intuitive techniques without the foundation of self-growth.
Others taught self-growth without knowing what to do when people started opening up their intuitive skills.
And so we got clients coming from both directions going,
right.
There's a need here. Both groups have a ceiling that lacks integration of those two paths that naturally come together.
And we filled that gap. And if you stay to the end, we'll show you why that's important for you.
Yes.
Now it's time for the reason you're watching.
Okay, today's topic is a question from one of our viewers. We'd love to answer your questions, so keep those questions coming. From Debbie from West Virginia, if you're watching. Hi, Debbie. She says, I found you guys on YouTube and your videos have helped me a lot. Thank you, thank you. You talked about interpreting messages from your spirit guides in a recent video. Yeah, that was a couple weeks ago.
Yes. And if you want to watch that video, definitely go check it out on our channel.
If you've seen that video, raise your hand in the comments.
Yes.
And she says, but I want to know, what are guides exactly? Are they real? Am I making them up? What's the deal? I like how she rhymed there.
Am I making them up? What's the deal?
Debbie's doing a spirit guide rap or something. Right. Raise your hand in the comments if you have also wondered about this. This is actually a common question that we get all the time. Am I making these guides up in my head?
So we're going to break that down.
I'll give you guys a little intro onto when we get these messages, because I think sudden messages from our spirit guides, I'm going to use air quotes here, can be really dramatic kind of wake-up calls or warnings that happen on occasion to get our attention. And then often when the crisis is past, we start wondering who sent that message? Who exactly, right?
Steve. What we don't realize is that messages are happening all the time. It's just that state of trauma or crisis, we get in that zone of hyper awareness. And in those states, that message gets delivered loud and clear.
So like we said in that previous video, you mentioned, Debbie, when this happens, we often start to work on strengthening that connection so we can have guidance on an ongoing basis, not just when our lives are going down the toilet.
Right. So we're going to break down 3 general theories to
Actually, 4.
Okay.
I added 1.
Okay. So you get a bonus theory today to explain exactly what a spirit guide is, or for those of you that are more logical, our inner guidance.
So tip number 1, kind of your spirit guides, here's kind of the 1 of 4 explanation, is that your spirit guide is part of a religious or a semi-religious construct. So this would be, say, an entity outside of yourself that exists in the world of what we like to call in theological theory, invisible reality. The first and most obvious one, guidance is coming from angels, God, goddess, ET even, ascended masters, that kind of thing.
So when we're kids, we have this primal desire in the brain from that animal self inside of us to be led, taught, and guided. And this is a step towards self-reliance and knowing who we are, knowing ourselves. It is the start of that deeper mental and emotional work of life, such as mastering the self or being your own guru and guiding your own life.
But spirit guides are called guides, not directors.
Yes.
Right. So I think this is where we this is a key component. Sometimes we get frustrated and we just want to be told what to do. So we seek somebody to direct us.
Right.
Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. This is not a guide. As a director, if we look at our spirit guides as directors, tell me what to do. Tell me what to do. It can start to be a crutch. I like getting readings once in a while. And a lot of our clients like getting readings, but it's not a direction. Here's what you absolutely have to do set in stone. It's supposed to be guidance.
Yes.
So a lot of times we'll see people who kind of get addicted to getting lots of psychic readings all the time because they need to have the answer of exactly what to do.
And that's different than getting a reading where you're looking for some type of guidance and not the crutch. When you get into those people who go from psychic to psychic or become addicted to psychic readings, they're not doing their own thing. So in the beginning, you've got a director. When you're a child, you do have a director, and then that person becomes over time a guide helping you get to your truth. I also wanted to clarify the difference between having somebody who is giving you a reading and directing you, and somebody who is giving a reading and guiding you.
Right.
Okay. And this comes from spirit guides. This comes from people. This comes from psychics. This comes from your best friend. If somebody is telling you that they have the answer and they know what you need, and that's a director.
Right.
If somebody's helping you get to your own answers, helping you discover your own truth and find the next piece of your own puzzle so that you can implement it, that's a guide.
So we get in trouble and never seem to get
I never get in trouble.
our lives together, as we as the general human race,
Right.
when we begin looking for directives in the form of like a magic 8-ball instead of guidance.
Right.
So your readings should not be a magic 8-ball kind of thing. It should be guidance. So that's kind of tip number one. So you're part of a religious or semi-religious construct.
Yes. Then tip number 2 is we're getting into ancestors, friends, or relatives.
So this is related to tip number 1 in that these guides also exist in that invisible reality.
Keep in mind,
Right.
we're still talking about theories through this whole thing.
Right. That this one can be sort of, well, I'll tell you in a second, but they exist in that spirit world we call
Yes.
invisible reality. I use the term invisible reality because it's kind of a theological term,
Construct, right.
but that can apply to however you want to see the spirit world.
Any reality that you
Right.
don't see.
Right. So these types of guides are more relatable for people, for many people,
Right.
because there's usually somebody that cared for you in life and is passed on, and you believe continue to watch out for you. Their guidance is thought to be trusted, and they have your highest good in mind.
Right. So this is, of course, the area that we tap into with mediumship
Right.
as evidences that are given in a mediumship reading that may prove continuity of life or life energy in some fashion.
So in the guide, type number 2 is sort of the one sort of provable guide, because sometimes when there's information like either in a mediumship reading or something that someone wouldn't know about your ancestor or friend that's passed on, that's sort of like a proof.
It's called
So-
a proof of identity or evidentiary mediumship.
Right.
Yeah.
And those are kind of cool things to get. So tip number 3, or type number 3, I should be saying, is your guide
Or theory 3.
is the subconscious mind.
So in psychology, that inner guidance comes from the subconscious, which is the part of the mind that is always working, sorting out the best answer and delivering that into your conscious mind. When the time is right, we're delivered that answer from our inner guidance, from our subconscious.
So some people create
The
a-
subconscious is actually a real thing, but
Yeah. So, but it's
Bunny
still an
ears.
invisible reality.
true. Bam.
So some people create a personification for that inner guidance or inner wisdom, as some people like to call it, by creating a character for it that is easily relatable. And this kind of acts like a shortcut that you create as a delivery system for the information. So
And it personifies that part of yourself that is your subconscious in a way that you can relate to it as if it were somebody giving you guidance.
So because the guide now has an assigned physical form, and this is also one
Right.
theory of how we started to see guides, it's easier to connect than just with some vague idea that you have. So
Right.
having a personification for your inner guidance can help strengthen the connection between your subconscious information and your conscious mind. So this is actually kind of a mind hacking tool
Yes.
for you to connect the bridge between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind.
And I also want to clarify that psychic information, mediumship information is all a function of the mind. And we've talked about this in other videos. It is a function of the mind. Everybody has this function. It depends on how you want to exercise it, how well you get, or how good you get.
So my personal construct for that inner wisdom, my guide, is Carl Jung sitting in an stuffed like big old recliner, smoking a big fat stogie. I don't know why that's just like mine. It just is because I like.
Because he's the
Carl.
master of the mind.
Yeah.
He's one of them.
He's a mind master.
All right. Then we have theory number 4. This is the bonus theory, and that would be the super conscious. So this is the one that actually takes us back full circle to theory number 1, where guides exist. So where guides exist in your subconscious, outside of that invisible reality that we call the spirit world. Well, the simple explanation is that guides are religious or semi-religious entities. Okay, so the theory here is that the subconscious is the doorway into your super consciousness that allows you to access these beings that are outside of you.
It's So it's kind of like this full circle.
Loopy diddy loop.
I hope you guys understood that, because
Yes.
that's kind of it. Okay, so the super conscious mind theory
Mhm.
takes us on a little bit more of an esoteric explanation than just the subconscious or the invisible reality, where you
Right.
have guides like angels and gods and goddesses.
Right.
So this is the gateway
Yep.
to that invisible reality or that spirit world where
Mhm.
the possibilities of external guides exist for you. But
Right.
here, your guide might be a type of higher self. We hear about the higher self. This is
Right.
where that applies. And so that higher self in this theory number 4 of where your guides come from, and who and what your guides are.
Right.
So that here, your guide in super conscious mind theory might be a type of your higher self that remains a part of the greater expanded human energy field or the universe, sort of a type of universal mind, a cosmic consciousness, or a non-local mind that acts as sort of an all-knowing oversight for the big picture.
So if you want to look at this metaphysically, it's that part of you that is still with source or God or whatever construct you want to use, that's still in the universe, that basically has access to all of the information that you could possibly need and feeds that to you. That would be the construct of the higher self.
And that's sort of like linear kind of plug-in. It's out there in the more kind of esoteric, rounded idea of it. It's all part of a non-local kind of cosmic consciousness that is actually connected. It's like a big biosphere of human energy or energetic sphere. So that's like the fourth theory is that we're all connected all the time and always uploading and downloading information and tapping into the right guidance that we need. So I think that's a pretty cool explanation.
I like them all. So now we're going to get into a special bonus tip. Are we the projector, or are we the screen? Are we the observer?
So this is the part where we know these 4 types of where our guidance might be coming from. And the big question is, are these guides strictly internal guides, or are they external guides outside of ourselves, or are they a combination of both? Let me know in the comments what you think. Are they external outside of you? Are they internal exclusively, or can they be a combination of both?
So let us know in the comments which one you believe that your guidance comes from, or where your guides come from. Are they inside? Are they outside? Are they both? We've got Cynthia, Blazing Turtle, Holly says both. Sheila says combos. Everybody's.
I like the combos because I get bored with just one thing personally. So
if I want a meal, I want a combo meal.
Right. So,
but a healthy one.
Combo meal, like from the sushi bar. So like a bento box, not like a Happy Meal. So in theory, we first experience connection with a guide or this sudden inspiration that comes to us. It seems to go beyond our conscious thought or our current knowledge of what we know right now. And that experience begins to shape some type of belief within us. So we have the experience, we get connected to this information,
and then we make our story around it or construct around it.
So we add to that belief over time, and now we begin to experience connections to guidance through the lens of that belief.
That belief, it doesn't have to be religious, but whatever that belief is that we have created as a way to understand that first big moment of the reception of guidance in the beginning, the receiving of guidance in the beginning. If our guide is an alien, an animal guide, an angel, or Carl Jung sitting in an overstuffed easy chair, smoking a big fat stogie, we generally, but not always, see that guide because we believe in it somehow. So we've created the construct, and that's typically what we end up seeing.
It's like a feedback loop.
Yes.
And this is one way.
A feedback creation loop.
This is one way that religious pantheons were created in the past, like how we created, like Hindu religion, the Catholic.
I think everybody said both. That was awesome.
Yeah, I like my options to be open. So the question, is the guide an external reflection of our inner wisdom and external being, or both? And this, my friends, like you have, is the ages old question. Are we the projector, the observer, or both? And the only answer we can be sure of is this.
The information that leads you in the right direction, is that useful and positive? Because if that information is guiding you to the answers that you actually need, not what you think you need, but the answers that you actually need that lead you to your own personal growth and self-development, if that's the information that you're receiving, then it's coming from a higher wisdom, whether it's your inside, outside, or a combination of both. And if it's throwing you in a tailspin and making you more and more confused, it's probably not coming from your inner wisdom or your guides.
So because this question is kind of an age-old question of theology and philosophy, that's it. Is the answer a good answer? Is it the right answer? Inspiration can come from anywhere. It can come from a 3-year-old, just all of a sudden they blurt out something very wise, or from some, person you meet in line at the Starbucks. So it just really depends.
Right.
Listen to the information. Is it good? And is it useful? And is it positive?
And is it guiding you in the right direction to help you get to your next level up?
So I hope that makes sense to you guys.
And I love Holly here. She's talking about, she said, yes, it doesn't make it any less real though. Absolutely.
Yes.
We are creating our own reality, our own guides. We create our own right. There really is no right answer.
I think when we get rigid in our belief, like we have an experience, we create beliefs, and then we see new experiences through the lens of that belief and we become really rigid, then we're like, no, we can only see it this way. And it's only, this way. And you're seeing this. And this is how we get in wars, religious wars.
Absolutely.
So battle each other.
When we create that rigidity around our construct and are not open to an evolution of thought, that's when we start getting in trouble. If we're always open to acclimating, adjusting, and updating, think about this. If you did Windows 10 or you did the original Mac and you stayed on DOS, okay? If you stayed on DOS, I don't know if anybody knows what DOS is.
He's going full computer
If you stayed on DOS and you never updated your operating system, we would never have Windows 10 or Mac or any of these things that we have now. We wouldn't be able to do this right here if we stayed on DOS.
We've learned that self-growth and developing your intuition for badass life go together just like sushi and Sapporo.
Because self-growth and intuitive development are the keys to creating your badass life.
So what is Zen Ed Academy? Zen Ed Academy is where we teach our advanced courses, and you get all the past courses with your membership. That's where we mostly hang out all week.
That is where you get the real deal. So if you're ready to get into our inner circle and start working with us right now, click on the link in the description.
If you liked this video, hit that like button.
If this video helped you in any way, share it with a friend.
If you've got any questions, like we said before, leave them in the comments. All of our videos come from you answering the questions that are relevant for your badass life.
For more badass life tips, for more badass life tips.
Did you just say badass life tips?
I might have.
thought that's what you
Be sure to subscribe and click the bell to turn notifications on.
So you're the first to know
when we drop a new video
or go live.
And we know that time is a valuable and precious resource. And the fact that you are spending that not only with us, but also with you, leveling up your life, leveling up your skills. We absolutely honor and appreciate that. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you guys in the next video.
Boom.
Bye.